The brass cobbles at the junction between the Royal Mile and St Mary's Street mark the original location of the Netherbow port, one of the gates of the old city of Edinburgh. You can see what it used to look like in a stone carving that's on the adjacent wall beside the old Netherbow port. Edinburgh, of course, was a walled city, and its city walls defended it from attack. Now, in 1688, King James VII of Scotland was deposed and he fled the country. Between 1688 and 1759, James VII, his son James Francis Edward Stuart, and his grandson Charles Edward Stuart, also known as Bonnie Prince Charlie, made various efforts to recover the throne for their branch of the family. In particular, in 1745, the grandson Bonnie Prince Charlie launched an invasion. Now, 1745 was actually quite a good time to be trying to invade, because in the meantime, the dynasty that had taken the throne, the Hanoverians, had got embroiled in the War of the Austrian Succession, which meant that, in the first place, they were very unpopular because they'd got the country involved in a foreign overseas war that nobody was really interested in. And in the second place, most of the army were away fighting the War of the Austrian Succession. So initially, Bonnie Prince Charlie was doing pretty well, and his troops were approaching Edinburgh. He sent a message ahead to Edinburgh City Council. "Open the gates to me. I am your rightful ruler. If you do not open the gates to me, you are traitors, and you will die." The City Council now had quite a big problem, because they also had a message from King George II. "I'm the rightful king around here. Don't open those gates to Charlie. If you open those gates to Charlie, you are traitors and you will die. So open the gates and die, keep the gates closed and die. These are your choices." At this point, of course, nobody has any idea who's going to win this one. So Edinburgh, being a walled city, was extremely crowded. Even very rich people would only have small apartments within the city. There were a lot of larger houses out beyond the Netherbow port in an area called the Canongate, and that's where rich people would also have gardens, stables, carriage houses, hounds and hawks. So anyway, the City Council are holding a crisis meeting. It's about 2 o'clock in the morning. They've got until 9 a.m. to make the decision. Do they open the gates? Do they keep the gates closed? At around 2 o'clock in the morning, the Lord Provost, that's the Mayor of Edinburgh, suddenly sits up and he says, "You know, my lads," and clearly this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but it occurs to me, my coach and my horses, they've been outside for hours. They must be cold, they must be tired. I think that I should send my coach and my horses back to my stables. Don't you agree? And all the other councillors go, "What? Seriously? I mean, these humanitarian urges towards your horses, all very creditable, I'm sure, but I don't know if you'd noticed, we are kind of right in the middle of a meeting here, and it is kind of important in that our actual lives are at stake, depending on the decision we make. So, I don't know, could you maybe focus a bit on the matter in hand?" "No, listen," he says, "I think I should send my coach and my horses back to my stables." Stables? Oh, stables. Oh, yes, actually you should. I mean, those poor little horses, so very cold, so very tired, poor wee things. Yes, absolutely, you must send your coach and your horses back to your stables. And this has nothing to do with what we are talking about. So the guards at the Netherbow port were waiting for their orders. Do they open the gates? Do they keep the gates closed? They see the Lord Provost coach come running down the Royal Mile towards them, heading for his stables, which are, of course, outside the city walls in the Canongate. So they do what they always do when they see the Lord Provost coach, which is fling open the gates to let him through. So the coach and horses go through, and then, entirely by coincidence, you understand, Bonnie Prince Charlie's soldiers who are standing outside grab hold of the gates and force them open. And they bundle the guards into a side room. They don't hurt anybody, they just bundle them all into a side room and lock them away. So Bonnie Prince Charlie's perfectly happy. He gets to make his triumphal entry into the city of Edinburgh as planned on the 17th of September 1745. And after his final defeat the following year, well, nobody actually gave the order for the gates to be opened, did they? I mean, it was a bit of a silly mistake. We should have been a bit more on the ball about it, but it was just a mistake and could have happened to anybody. Anyway, nobody got the head chopped off for it, so that's all right.